Detroit to close on Friday. The Detroit Free Press reports one threatened a shooting rampage at school mass on November 1st, the Feast of All Saints. It's unclear if the reported threats were connected. For more news from a Catholic perspective, visit EWTNnews.com. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie starts now.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. Along with Debbie Georgiani, I am Jerry Usher. We got the show team. I think everyone's in place. Rich Jesse, Jeff Burson, Ryan Penny is answering your calls on this Monday broadcast. The phone number is 833-288-3986. Jot that down, or maybe you have it memorized, because, Debbie, I think today is a topic that if there's someone who cannot resonate with today's topic, I'd be really, I want to meet the person who won't be able to relate to today's topic.
That saintly person.
Right.
Who nothing frustrates them. We had actually addressed this topic a few months ago, and it was very popular. And actually, folks said, can you do it again? Because, they had things they were thinking about after the show, and they wanted us to revisit it. And we said, sure. We pretty much do whatever you ask us to do, pretty much. So the question today is, ready? Remember, this is Monday. Did I mention it's my birthday and anniversary week? Okay. Just had to say that. It's Monday.
Well, if you hadn't said it, I was going to. So
thank you. I have to congratulate myself,
Right.
10 years wedding anniversary, and 50 something for my birthday. Nobody heard that, right?
No, all you need to tell us is you spell your birthday with a 5.
It's true. I'm going to be 54. We're very transparent here. We tell everything. Okay, so it's Monday. Started the live shows again this week. Wonderful topics. Here's the question. Get ready. Ready on your mark. Get set. Go. What frustrates you? Start calling. 833-288-3986. I have so many things I could take up the whole show.
Yeah, well, so do I. But, folks, it's your show. You are the Take Two family, and you're the ones we want to hear from. And this isn't just to have a conversation about, getting our blood pressure up or anything like that. It's really the purpose of this show each and every day is for us to have a conversation, try and realize how we can be better regarding whatever we're talking about, and come out the other end, hopefully today, a little less frustrated. So what is it that really, you could probably think of a number of things that really frustrate you, but what is, if you had to narrow it down to one thing, 833-288-3986. I think the lines are going to be very, very busy today. So start calling right now if you think that you might have something to share.
Okay, we're getting a lot of text messages. Everybody I think they thought today is my birthday. No, it's November 9th. This is my birthday week. November 9th is my birthday. November 7th is our anniversary. Marty and I we'll be married for 10 years. So that's the 7th. Okay. Yes, what frustrates you? Jerry, do you want to go first? Maybe just share one thing that frustrates you? I have several.
Well, I sure can.
Okay.
But I want to, again, put that phone number out there and invite you, the Take Two family, to take this topic and run with it as you always do. 833-288-3986. And I've shared this on the show before, not necessarily on a What Frustrates You program, but maybe in other contexts. But being a member of the media, as I have been, I'm in my 40th year in radio, and I've done a little bit of television as well. And Debbie, I've lamented this with you so many times. It's like the media, my profession, my colleagues, if you will, do so much to stifle the truth. Okay, you got secular, like the network newscasts. I mean, here, the example that I always give, every year about 500,000 people converge on our nation's capital or more for the March for Life. And do you think you see anything about that on the network news? Maybe you'll see a quick blurb that'll say thousands of anti-choicers or something. You know what I mean? They spin it. And there are so many other things. The way the media portray the church. Yeah, we've made a lot of blunders, a lot of huge mistakes, but you're never going to get a break. And it's so frustrating because I want to shout, no, wait, there was 500,000 people. in Washington, D.C., marching for the sanctity of human life. Somebody listen to me. You can see I get worked up about this.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Yeah.
And there's countless other examples about how the biases in the media, and that's why I think it strikes so close to home with me, because it's my profession. I have a microphone that I get to speak into 5 days a week on this show, but it's not as broad as some of those other ones, and certainly we're proclaiming the truth, not trying to hide it. So there's one of my key frustrations right there. Sorry to get so animated.
No, not at all. I totally agree with you. Okay, so if you share in that frustration that Jerry just expressed, or something else that frustrates you, okay, not necessarily angers you where you just, want to go crazy, but that frustrates you because you want the truth to be out there. Call in at 833-288-3986. That's the number to call. We have a few open phone lines. Hurry to those phones, 833-288-EWTN. Jerry, similar to that, I've always said this, that I think there should be an immediate real-time fact checker every time our political representatives speak. And it should be right at the lower, what do you call that, 2/3 of the screen? Is that what you call it? Where
lower third, yeah.
Lower third, not 2/3. Yeah. Well, actually, make it 2/3 so you don't have to see them as much.
Or
right?
just maybe like on Family Feud, that buzzer with the X that comes on the screen.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And as soon as they speak, when they start absolutely outright lying, this alert comes up and says, lie. It's just because because here's the problem. I've been in airports. You've seen this, Jerry, where you sit in airports for an hour and a half, and cable news is on, and they're just having these little blurbs in the lower, section of the screen, and everybody thinks that's gospel truth. And that's not true. And it's so frustrating. That's something that really bugs me.
Well, I'd say along those lines, another frustration of mine is that we have all these debates and we have as many candidates as we have, and the length of the campaigns. Where is it in
the
Canada?
Money. The money.
In Canada, I think they have like a 3-month campaign window. I think if I have that right, in Canada or whatever, maybe it's a different country, but it's just way out of hand. So there you go, folks. Debbie and I have shared a frustration. It could be It could be your kids leaving the toys around the house. It could be people driving slow in front of you on traffic.
Your spouse not listening to you.
I don't know anything about that. Okay. It could be, you go to your favorite restaurant and you just can't wait for the meal to be served, and it's cold or it's just not right or something.
That's
nasty. All of these really, in a way, are first world problems. They're not end of the world types of things, but frustration is a part of life. So share with us not only what frustrates you, but how you deal with that in a virtuous way. Hopefully, you're able to stay calm and collected and offer it to the Lord, perhaps. 833-288-3986. Nancy and Paul and the others, we're going to start with you when we come back here on Mondays. Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie. Stay with us.
Vatican officials will meet to decide the fate of disgraced former Cardinal Theodore McCarrick.
Pro-life leaders applauding the president's strong stand for life.
A new poll finds most Americans, including those identifying as pro-choice, are opposed to late-term abortion.
And Pope Francis says the death penalty is contrary to the gospel.
News headlines you can have faith in. Weekdays at the top of the hour on EWTN Radio.
Third Millennium Media presents Debbie Georgianni.
The world tells us not to be merciful, and we as Catholic Christians are called to take a step back and look at it in a different way. We must practice mercy, especially if we want to receive mercy.
Debbie Georgianni, co-host of Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, wants to visit your parish, retreat, or conference. Invite Debbie Georgianni today online at thirdmillenniummedia.com.
If you're currently an EWTN media missionary or just interested in becoming one, we've got some great news. EWTN Media Missionaries has a new and improved website, EWTNmissionaries.com, designed with you in mind. Our new site is loaded with great features and it's easy to navigate. There are so many different ways that you can help EWTN. Join us in sharing the eternal word with the world. Visit EWTNmissionaries.com today.
Okay, we're asking you today what frustrates you on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Now, not what frustrates you on Take Two, but we're doing the show on Take Two.
Well, they could say that if they want.
No, I have a thin skin this week for my birthday and anniversary.
That's right.
Did I mention that lately?
You got to wait until next week if you want to talk about something on the show that frustrates you.
That's exactly right. But our family, our Take Two family, has such a sense of humor. They were texting, sending text messages in saying, "Debbie, you're right. You made that slip. You said if it's 2/3, you wouldn't have to look at the politicians on the screen. It would cover up their." Our Take Two family is really cool. They have such a great
on top of it.
I know they're so awesome. Okay, real quickly, can we just highlight a program that I absolutely love, and I'm so excited because I hope I get to work with him next week. Is it next week, Jerry? Next week it's the 12th, so that would be next week, right? No. Yes. Okay. I see my days and times, folks. I'm getting older. Please excuse me. Next week, I'll be in Toledo, Ohio at Annunciation Radio's Share-a-thon. And Marcus Grodi is from that area, and he does a wonderful program called The Journey Home. And Marcus Grodi's guest at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on The Journey Home is Leah Labresco Sargent. And so these stories of coming home to the faith are very powerful and very helpful. So I really encourage you to check it out. Marcus Grodi does a great job. And I hope next week I get to see his beautiful daughter-in-law, Teresa, who I just love catching up with. But I can't wait to be in Toledo for their fall share-a-thon. It's going to be a good one.
All right. We thank you very much for your full phone lines right now. We'll work through as many of you as we can on today's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, talking about frustrations in life. But the key is at the end of the conversation, hopefully at the end of each call, we all know how to deal with our frustrations a little bit better. Maybe they're not even frustrations at all when it gets right down to it. But we all have those little things that get under our skin, and that's what we want to talk about today and how we deal with them in a godly, holy way. 833-288-3986. We'll start with Nancy, as promised, in Worcester, Massachusetts, listening on Emmanuel Radio and a first-time caller. Hi, Nancy. Welcome.
Oh, how are you doing?
Doing well, Nancy.
I'm a first-time caller, but I did meet you, Jerry, when you came into Worcester one time for a fundraiser.
Oh, fantastic.
I was actually one of the people that spoke.
Thank you. Thank you for your help with the station there.
My frustration is I'm on my 9th child going to college, and the last couple have looked into Catholic colleges, and we have beautiful Catholic colleges in Worcester, Massachusetts. They do stay local. I won't specify the college, but when we were touring a college yesterday, I get very frustrated. This is the 3rd Catholic college, so all 3 of them I've seen, but this one was worse. They have the Pride Club. I'm not against diversity, but they seem to be promoting this, and I'm not sure if they're promoting it in the Catholic way. And then when you're walking through, and of course I say to my son, this really shouldn't be here the way it's being displayed in a Catholic college. And of course he's saying, Mom, it's the 20th century, it's 2020, get with it. And you're just a little too weird. That's what I guess they call you weird now.
Right.
And it's just frustrating me because it's very mixed messages. We're sending mixed messages. I mean, these colleges this particular one has a room that you can go to that's got, the rainbow on the outside. And it's, including everybody, very non-offensive, very inclusive, they were calling it, the word. And I was very frustrated. I didn't even know where to go with it. I was going to call our bishop, but he's not around.
Yeah, right. I have a few thoughts, Debbie. If you have something you want to go ahead, that's fine. But I can.
No, you go first. I do have a couple thoughts on it, but you go ahead, Jerry.
Well, Nancy, first of all, thank you again for your help and support of Emmanuel Radio. Catholic Radio relies on the prayers and volunteerism and financial support of all of its listeners, so thank you for doing that. And thank you for bringing 9 beautiful children into the world. Your 9th one on the way to college right now, and the fact that you've run into this is not really a surprise because it's fairly widespread. It's the promotion of it that can be problematic. Obviously, like you said, we don't want to discriminate, and there are definitely going to be on every campus, including college campuses, young men and women who struggle with a same-sex attraction. The deal is,
Yes.
you said maybe it was one of your children was saying, Mom, we got to stay up with the times. Come on, it's 2019, 2020. You know what the truth is?
Yeah.
We're falling farther and farther behind the times. The times are really what God wants us to know and love and believe and teach. And my question simply would be, Debbie, are there resources on that same campus that present the church's teachings on same-sex behavior? That would be
courage?
my question. Yeah.
What about
That
courage?
was my question. I
Yeah.
actually wanted to ask that question, but there was nobody there. I didn't want to ask the people that were standing with the Pride Club because they were just kids. I was looking for somebody that represents that room. Actually, are they teaching these kids how to deal with this identity problem, the Catholic perspective?
Right.
And
Well,
I did not find that out, but I don't think so.
Nancy, you know this, okay? There's a lot of Catholic schools, quote unquote, okay, that use the Catholic banner, but they're not Catholic in principle, and it's very unfortunate. And it's I think it's going to take a well-constructed letter or maybe a group of people to present alternatives for this. Pride is a secular term. It's a marketing term, a very trendy term to get people to buy into a concept that is not beneficial in the long run. Pride actually divides people. It separates. And it's not good. It's not good. I know this because I actually have a really good friend who decided to do some work with some groups that are associated with Pride, LGBTQ groups, okay? And she was telling me that it actually is very divisive. It divides people because if you have a different view, you're not accepted any longer. And so you have to buy into this idea in order to be part of it. I would present alternatives to this Catholic school, like the Courage Ministry. I would even say, listen, could we rename it to something that represents that these are beautiful sons and daughters of God? Why do we have to call it Pride? Okay, we're all children.
That's what was getting me mad.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But it's going to take strong voices in a well thought out plan to present it to the higher administration, because quite honestly, I think we as Catholics, we sit quietly too much, and we're very passive, and we let things happen until they've snowballed over us, and then we don't know what has happened. So I don't know, Nancy, if you're up to it, or maybe you could get a group together, but see, here's the problem. I mean, let's face it. You're going to be targeted, okay? Because that's what happens. Everybody goes, see, Nancy and the group she's with are haters. That's not true. You're trying to present the Catholic view. Nancy, we'll pray about it. It's very disturbing, but it's happening all over the country, all over the world, actually, and it's not right. Anything else, Nancy?
But it's very hard when you're bringing these kids to the colleges. My last son he was into the bigger one in the city, and he wasn't impressed with it at all because they were pushing this agenda down our throats. He's like, it's actually not worth going there. It's not worth the money. It's not really Catholic. It's not really Catholic. But I felt like our bishops should be able to step in on these things, but evidently not. I don't know. That's my frustrations. So frustrated, because I will actually call. I'm actually going to call there and speak to somebody up there. I'm not afraid.
But okay, Nancy, may I say something though? Because I have worked in human resources, and I'm assuming that human resources in the school administration is probably similar. But Nancy, tell them you're going to follow up with a formal letter or a formal complaint, because those calls, they don't go anywhere. I can just tell you from my experience. Mm-hmm.
All right, sounds like a great idea, and I am praying, and we'll get the frustration out of my head today.
Nancy, two other quick things for you. Thanks for holding on so long. One, go to on the internet, look up the Cardinal Newman Society. John Henry Cardinal Newman was just canonized a saint about 2 weeks ago. And for many, many years, I think his name is Patrick Riley, has been putting together a guide to Catholic colleges. So go to the Cardinal Newman Society online. And the other thing, and by the way, your voice is the voice of countless parents who are perhaps listening right now or going through the same thing. And the second thing I would encourage encourage you, Nancy, or anybody else out there to do, my company, Third Millennium Media, we represent a number of speakers, including Deacon Harold Burke-Sivers and others. One of those speakers is Avera Maria Santos. She is a 22-year-old on fire, vibrant, joyful young lady who has same-sex attraction and is living out her Catholic faith with such fervor and zeal that it puts me to shame. So I would just encourage people to go to thirdmillenniummedia.com. And if you want to bring out a speaker who can address your college, your high school, your parents' group on this issue, Avera Maria Santo, and you'll find her at thirdmillenniummedia.com. Thank you, Nancy. God bless you.
Thank you, Nancy. And Jerry, if folks want to get kind of a feel for how articulate Avera is, they can go to jerryanddebbie.com and check out the webinar we did. Was it last month or the month before?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, 2 months ago.
I think.
Right. We have all the recordings there. I know I can't keep up. I think was it September? I think it was September.
It was September,
September. Yeah. Okay. Or October, folks. Either way. See, Jerry and I, just forgive us. We're there. We're over, combined, we're over 100 years old. Okay. So go there and check it out. No, actually, if you had your age and my age, would be almost 110, right?
We'd be over 110, yeah. 112, wow. Yeah.
That's getting there.
I'm going to spell my age with a 6 in a year and a half.
Ooh. Do you get senior citizen discounts then?
I do. I've already started taking them. It's great.
Wow. Very cool. That's something to look forward to. Okay, let's hear what Carol has to say. Thank you again, Nancy in Worcester, Mass. And tell the folks at Emmanuel Radio they're doing a great job. We just love them. Carol in Rochester, New York, listening on Alexa. Hi, Carol. You're up next on Take Two.
Hi. I'm glad you could take my call.
Sure thing.
I get frustrated with our pastor. He's been here at our church for 3 years, but he doesn't say a mass. That he doesn't call somebody from the audience up to do something for him. He whispers in their ear, and they go get this, and they change that. And then sometime during the middle of the Mass, he changes the red light that burns by the tabernacle. He has no respect for as far as I'm concerned, for the sanctuary. He comes in, he's loud, he's laughing, he's high-fiving the kid, and, when you're in there, you came to pray, and this is going on, and he stops and talks to people as he's walking down the aisle before Mass, and he stops and talks to people on the way out. It's just very frustrating because he's just got too many things going, and he's been here 3 years. He should have it down by now.
Okay, so Carol, a couple questions, because I worked at parishes for many, many years, and I've worked with so many priests, I can't even count them anymore. So may I ask you just a couple questions so I can get it straight in my head? Is he a new priest? Has he been a priest for over 10 years?
I don't think so. He is fairly new. He is the pastor here and has been for 3 years, but I think he was like 40 in his...
A late vocation?
Put him here, 40.
Okay. He was a late vocation, Carol?
A late?
A late vocation. He came into the priesthood, and he wasn't like in his 30s. He was in his 40s? Is that right?
No. I don't know. I don't know how long he's been a priest, but he's,
he's
a pastor, so
he's the pastor.
To be a pastor, he's probably been ordained for 10 or 12. It depends on the diocese and the need that they have, but typically,
okay. So then he's not a newbie. He's not a baby priest.
He's not been a priest just for 3 years. Probably, you're not usually made a pastor right away.
Okay, so here's what happens in my experience from working at the parishes, Carol. You get a lot of priests that are very friendly, they're very social, and they do use that opportunity to kind of be very free in their personality. Sometimes some pastors have some, just like the rest of us, have some unusual kind of quirks that they carry into the liturgy. I worked for a pastor that was an uber perfectionist, and he would stop the liturgy, several times to tell the altar servers what to do and this and that, and to do it perfectly, and because that was his thing that he had in his nature and his character. Okay, so if you take that all off the table, okay, let's rule that all out, and let's rule out that he doesn't have any type of, I guess illness, if you will, that makes him, kind of be a little bit distracted. What I would do, Carol, because it's a difficult situation when you're working with the pastor, it would have to be very gently conveyed to him that it just seems odd that, would he want all of the parishioners to behave like that in the sanctuary? Would he want, does he want us to be very reverent? And if so, he is the leader. He is the shepherd. So he must do it he must model it for the parishioners to rise up and do the same. But it has to be very, very carefully and gently conveyed, because I will tell you that they get very hurt very easily. You talk about a thin skin. A lot of priests have very, very thin skin, and they get very hurt. And you don't want that, because then it makes it difficult for you to be in the community, and then you have this kind of weird tension with your pastor. What do you think, Carol?
I think he doesn't care. He wants to do what he wants to do. He's very abrupt with people, and especially the elderly. He's very rude to them and puts them out of, just makes them feel like they don't matter.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Well, you could always, if you wanted to, write a letter to the bishop. I don't know. What do you think, Jerry, about that?
Yeah, I think a conversation with a pastor, it's just, hopefully this man is a prayerful man. We need our priests to be prayerful. And they need to, like you said, Debbie, they need to be our witness, our examples, I should say, in reverence and holiness. So, Carol, thank you for your call from Rochester to Take Two. We appreciate it.
Deacon Harold Burke-Sivers.
When we do this kind of work, we're not afraid to talk about our faith, no matter who we are out there. People are going to call you names. And the reason why they do that is they want you so caught up in the emotion that you don't think. And we're a thinking church.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
This is a Messy Family Minute with Mike and Alicia Hernan. Very often, parents contact us for advice on disciplining their kids. Children are raw personality when they're born, and it's the job of parents to shape them into civilized human beings. Moms and dads need to create expectations, structure, and rules to teach kids how to respect other people. But those rules need to be enforced within a relationship.
A good maxim for parents to remember is, rules without relationship breeds rebellion. The first step in disciplining our children is to invest in our relationship with them. This is true if your child is 4 or if they're 14. Fill up their love tank, learn how they tick, recognize their amazing uniqueness. This will open their hearts to the guidance that only you can give as a parent.
Visit us at messyfamilyminute.org to access our discipline guide and other resources designed to encourage and inspire Catholic parents like you.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
The devil will always do his best to tempt you into sin until you get to that place where you love sin. That's what he wants. He wants you down there with him. And not because he loves you, he hates you. When you do what the enemy tempts you to do, he does it out of pure hatred.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. We embrace the essence of feminine spirituality on Women of Grace tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
We love being with you for this hour every Monday through Friday at Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. There is a replay of the show at midnight Eastern Time, and you can also listen to the archives anytime as soon as they are put up there, usually shortly after the show, certainly no later than the next day at take2show.com. And our phone number to be on today's broadcast is 833-288-3986, talking about those frustrations in life. What is something that you could point to and say, I really, really get frustrated by this, but here's how I deal with it. And here's how it doesn't get the better of me. We want to learn from you. 833-288-3986. And we're going to go to Bill next in Levittown, Pennsylvania, listening on Holy Spirit Radio.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill. Welcome.
Hello. I'd like to talk about not enough silence in Mass.
Okay.
Especially after communion, there's so often some music or whatever, and that doesn't give you time to reflect on what just happened.
Mm-hmm. Debbie, I know you probably can say a lot to this, having been in parishes for so long, but all I can do, Bill, is say hip, hip, hooray, and agree with you. I know that there is a place in the liturgy for a communion song, and I, too, sometimes wish it would be, what happens usually, I know one of the parishes I go to, Debbie, the choir members will go up there and get communion first, so they're right back to their places, and pretty much about the time that everybody else goes up there, they've started the song and so forth, and it feels a little bit awkward to me sometimes. Do I carry a songbook with me as I'm going up to receive communion, or do I, chomp Jesus down real quick so I can, start singing when I get back to the pew? I'm like Bill. I would definitely appreciate a few minutes of just, time to meditate on that. I don't know. Do you know anything about that, Debbie, liturgically? Is that?
I do.
Okay.
I do, actually. There's so many nuances to the liturgical process that we use. Some have slightly adapted it a little, if you will, depending on the pastor and what he prefers for the music ministers. And Jerry, when you were saying chomp down Jesus, I know you were saying that respectfully, because I've seen you, and you're
Right.
very, very reverent and
thanks.
all your seminary training that you've had. But I want to say something about that's very interesting. You said that, and you used that term because there is a rush to distribute communion. I've seen it for many, many years. There is a rush, and I think it does for all of us, because let's face it, we have the liturgy of the Word, the liturgy of the Eucharist in our service, right, in our worship service, right, Bill and Jerry, and then when we get to the Eucharist portion and then we distribute, there's kind of the pace picks up. And that's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate, because we are we've consumed the body, blood, soul, and divinity of our Lord and Savior. And there should be that unbelievable sense of reverence and feel and quiet and prayerfulness. So a lot of the liturgies here in Arizona, they actually will do just instrumental music, not actually for you to sing to it. So that's beautiful. I come from a diocese, our Bishop Thomas Olmsted, he's a catechetical bishop. We have a very reverent, I believe anyway, for the most part, a very reverent diocese. We have a lot of quiet time. We have a lot of prayer time before and after communion. We just have a lot of reverence. And I would say, Bill, there's no accident that you called, Bill. And also with the caller before you, Carol. Carol, I hope you're still listening. We have a lot of priests and deacons that listen to this show. They like this show because they get their homily material from it. And that's great. And we very much we appreciate that. That's a great honor. But if you're listening right now, please listen. These are the parishioners calling in and saying, we want more reverence. And you know what? If you look at the stats, 2/3 of the people don't believe in the real presence of Jesus. Well, what does that tell you? We need to start incorporating back the proper posture during liturgies so that we can develop an understanding and an acceptance of the real presence. I'm sorry, Bill, you hit a hot button with me, because liturgy is a big thing for me. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think so, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to Debbie's point there, when we truly understand and believe with all our heart who is there in the tabernacle and whom we are there to worship, it's going to change our behavior and guide our behavior within a church.
Exactly.
I mean, if you had a group of people get together in a room and you told them, the Queen of England was there, they'd comport themselves in a very different way than they would if they were at a football game. But if they, for whatever reason, didn't believe that the Queen of England was there, and she'd be greatly disrespected, So I think this touches on a lot of important points. And Bill, thanks for bringing it to our attention. I think, Debbie, that's a frustration that a lot of people share, is that, just the talking and the extraneous noise in a church before and after Mass and during Mass. Well,
we all have to practice what we say we believe. And if we're just kind of going through the motions like autopilot, and we're rushing it because we're thinking about getting out of the parking lot or what we're going to have to eat after Mass, we've missed this heavenly banquet where heaven and earth touch. I mean, we just got done on our book club, The Lamb's Supper, the Mass as Heaven on Earth by Dr. Scott Hahn. I encourage everyone to read it. It is life-changing. I mean, Gigi, our facilitator, was right. She wanted everybody to read it because you'll never look at the Mass the same way again. And so, Bill, thank you for just raising awareness. And I want to thank Carol again as well, doing the same thing. And Nancy, too, from Massachusetts. This is important conversations we're having. So God bless you, Bill. Thank you. Gary is up next in San Antonio, Texas, where we're going in the beginning of December, Gary. We hope we get to meet you on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Hi, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
It's Texas, God's country. What can I tell you?
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, what I was concerned about is I'm listening to some of these conversations, and there's times when I think people become too, I don't know what you call it, possessive, or like they have this overall arching ownership of the parish and what goes on there. And I'm not saying that what they're concerned about and have expressed their frustration with is wrong, but sometimes it seems like people want to go to the very extreme, like exactly what they feel is the only way it should be. And sometimes they're the ones that are extreme and maybe out of the norm rather than the priest or the other people in the parish.
Right. Well, on that point, I might actually, in a certain sense, agree with you, Gary, in this respect. I find myself, I absolutely hate talking before Mass. And one of the parishes I go to occasionally, I usually sit in the same place. Good Catholic, you always sit in the same exact spot every time you go to Mass. And about 6 or 8 pews behind me, there's a group of 5 or 6 people just getting caught up on all the events of the week and everything, and not whispering. They're just talking like they're in a coffee shop. And it really grates on me, partly because they're not supposed to be doing that, shouldn't be doing that, but also partly because, I'm trying to pray and meditate. And so a lot of times I think, Gary, maybe you're right in my reaction. I'm seeing this as such a huge thing for me because it's interfering with my prayer time, or I don't like this. Sure, it's objectively wrong. They shouldn't be doing it. But I often find myself, Debbie as well, just saying to myself, all right, Jerry, don't get prideful about this. Don't make this to be too big a deal, bigger deal than it is. I just, I wish it wouldn't happen, but I try and just control how I react to it sometimes. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but
you are. I just want to say, Gary, because have you listened to this show on a regular basis, Gary? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Okay. So then that we're pretty. We're very conversational, and we try to explore every angle, and Jerry's always saying reframe things, so we're constantly looking at it. I have to say I respectfully a little bit disagree with you, and let me just share with you why. I see what you're saying, that people feel like they have this controlling sense over the parish, and it's got to be with the way they want it because they remember it from their childhood or whatever. I understand that. But I have to also tell you, Gary, a lot of parishioners do not speak up until it gets too late and things happen. I was part of another parish. I'll tell a story without naming names. I was working for another parish where a neighboring parish contacted me because they knew that I would do something about it. And they had a pastor that was not living a good life. Okay? And they contacted me, and I went to my pastor, who was just amazing priest. He's now gone home to meet his heavenly rewards, and I just feel it, that I feel he's made it. I really do. I just feel it. And Gary, I'll tell you, we stood up and we helped the parishioners voice this up to the right channels, the bishop, the archbishop, all the way up. And this priest left the priesthood and is now running just a, what do you call it, Jerry? A rogue kind of church.
Yeah, kind of a storefront church.
Storefront church that accepts everything and anything, and it's really horrific. But I will tell you, had the parishioners sat quietly, this could have gone on for many years, and they had a school attached to it, Gary, and it was very disturbing. So thank God the parishioners took ownership of what they saw was wrong. So how do you feel about that extreme? I'm just curious.
Oh, no, and that's why I'm saying I think there's a balance there, but everybody needs to look at themselves very deeply and say, okay, is what I'm feeling just because that's the way I am, or is it something that should be in general? What you talked about obviously should have been addressed, and I will say, like for me, if I have issues with something the priest's doing or says, then I go to talk to him. And I know some folks are almost too intimidated to say anything to a priest whatsoever, and that's unfortunate. But it's the balance that I think is sometimes missing, and I think the other part that's missing a lot of times is communication, because folks don't want to talk to each other. And Jerry, I'll give you an example for what you were talking about with the folks that were talking. If it was me, I would walk back to them and I would just say, y'all, I'm kind of trying to get some real prayerful time in here. Would y'all mind if you just kind of keep the volume down a little? I mean, that's what I would do. And I don't know if you did that or not.
I don't believe I have in that particular instance. I have said something on previous occasions over the years of my life, but in this particular, partly because it's not my parish. I guess that shouldn't matter, but it's just one that I go to out of convenience once in a while. But yeah. So, but you know what I do is I very deliberately turn around and I kind of look at them, and I just look for like 3 or 4 or 5 seconds until most, if not all of them, have kind of caught my glance, and then I just turn back around, and I'm hoping that says what I'm wanting to say. I'm
give
really
them
not.
A look.
Yeah, I'm not much more. I'm not really the type to go and confront people like that. Maybe it's just my personality, but I'll give that some thought, Gary. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Gary's jogging my memory too, because Gary, for years I worked in community relations for Catholic Radio, and I remember going to all these other parishes in other states, and I would put my marketing materials, pledge cards and station ID stuff, and I'd put it all in the back row of the back pew of the church, just because I didn't want to disturb anybody. And I remember one time I was in this other parish in a different state, and the usher came up to me and said, "Move your stuff now. That's Sally's seat." And I said, "I'm sorry, I didn't know it was Sally's. She has to sit there. This is her seat." And I said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." And so I moved it. And sure enough, this beautiful elderly lady came in and took her seat. And she actually made a comment to the usher, "Thank you for moving her stuff." And it was interesting. But so I understand the kind of the possessiveness that people tend to feel. Remember, didn't somebody say one time that everybody has their own mental pew marker of where they know their pew is, their particular place in the church? So yeah, I mean, you're right, Gary, a healthy balance would be good. So thank you so much for that one. Any last comments before we let you go in your beautiful state of Texas that we're visiting in December, Gary? We hear the weather's gorgeous then.
Oh, it will be. If you're down in San Antonio, you've got to go to the River Walk. You'll love it. So
okay,
we are planning that.
No. Balance and communication. Good deal. Thank you.
All right. Bless you, brother. Thanks for listening to the program and calling. Our number 833-288-3986. We have a few more calls we're going to get to. I just want to mention we have some great social media comments too.
We do.
But I just wanted to let you all know about the National Catholic Register. It's at ncregister.com. You're not laughing about this.
Did you just say you all? Because we're going to Texas? You did.
Did I say y'all? Oh,
you
my
did.
goodness.
You said it, and it was so perfect. Do you have your cowboy hat yet?
I don't have my cowboy.
Tony says we have to have cowboy.
Gonna have to,
yeah,
all
she
right.
said
Well,
we have to
I
have
was going to put
hat.
out the word for people who like the show to buy us cowboy hats when we're down there.
Mine has to be black with some like bling on it.
Bling,
I've already seen it.
Leave
in my
the bling
head.
off of mine. We're going to have details of it's another informal pilgrimage to some beautiful sites in San Antonio the weekend of December 7th and 8th. Details will be on jerryanddebbie.com soon, so keep checking back. But the National Catholic Register really is, folks, it's a balanced, it's a very orthodox, very beautiful presentation of our Catholic faith and the news going on in the church and outside the church. And it's a weekly publication of EWTN. And you can get 6 free issues. And after that, if you don't like it, you don't have to sign up. But if you do like it, there's probably a discount or something going on. They always have great specials. So go to ncregister.com and check out EWTN's National Catholic Register.
Okay. Did you share what our show is for tomorrow? Because a lot of folks are saying we need to do that ahead of time so they can prepare and start discerning how they're going to weigh in. Do you know what tomorrow is? I can share it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to grow?
Do you want to grow? Yeah.
Do you want to grow? And that we're not talking about farming or growing plants. We're talking about ourselves. Do you want to grow? We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Did you share that already? Am I repeating myself?
I did not, no.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Do you want to share that? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's a previously aired show. Yeah, EWTN has some things they're going to be working on tomorrow, routine maintenance and stuff.
Okay.
So we are not going to be live tomorrow, but you will have a Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Do You Want to Grow? It's a show that we aired some weeks back.
That was a great show. I loved that show. I thought we were revisiting it because we're revisiting our popular topics. Okay, sorry about that. But did I tell you it's my birthday week? I have a free pass this week. Jeremy in Columbus, Ohio on St. Gabriel Radio. You're a first-time caller, so you get our virtual bell. That's just for you, Jeremy. Welcome.
Nice. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing
great.
pretty
It's
well.
it's my birthday week, so
It's
I'm
our
great.
birthday week, Jeremy, in case you hadn't heard that yet.
Oh, well, hey, happy birthday.
Thank you,
I
Jeremy.
didn't actually. So.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
Absolutely.
You were. So what's on your mind? What frustrates you, Jeremy? We want to hear about it.
Yeah, so I think mine's kind of a touchy one. It's an interesting situation. But I'm pretty new to the Catholic Church. I just got baptized on Easter last year.
Oh, praise God. Welcome home.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, long time coming. So I can't really say any names or anything, but basically the priest, he's been there forever. He's an icon in Columbus. Great part of the church. Our church actually got struck by lightning a few years ago, had to undergo a ton of renovations. He raised all the money to rebuild the church. He's built a museum, a huge Catholic memorabilia collection. He's just a big time guy in the church there. And he's been there for like 30 years, 40 years. And all of a sudden, the church got rebuilt, everything was finished, and a new bishop came in to the diocese in the Columbus area. And all of a sudden, our priest said he was retiring. And he said basically announced it 2 days before he retired. So it was very abrupt. No one in the community knew it was coming. Everyone was really confused about what was going on. And it wasn't like him at all to do anything like that. He's been well known for years. And then the day after he retires, there was an anonymous allegation against him for sexual abuse. But it was all the way back in the 80s. And no one has said a word about that allegation since the day that it came out. There's never been an investigation. There's never been anything. He was replaced immediately, obviously. But it's just kind of been like he was like slandered and then removed, and nothing ever followed through. And nothing ever came up about it again. He was one of the traditional priests. He was still doing the Latin Mass. They removed the Latin Mass from the church. They joined up with 2 other local churches, and now all the traditional masses in the extraordinary form are all gone. His name has been struck from everything. And just, I don't know. It just seems really weird that all of this happened in succession, one after the other. New bishop comes in, he's ousted, he's slandered, and then everything that he stood for and did has been removed. And nobody knows what's going on, and the bishop won't speak on it. So I don't know if I just kind of want to get your guys' ideas on how to proceed and maybe get the answers, because I don't believe in the allegations just based on I've known him for years, the community's known him for years and years, and nothing like that has ever been brought up, and it was just one anonymous allegation that has never actually been followed through on or talked about, and it seems pretty sketchy to me.
Yeah, well, you've offered a lot of information there, Jeremy, and obviously Debbie and I have no knowledge of the situation, so we can't directly comment.
Right.
I think, and the risk of being oversimplifying this here, you were kind of asking. I think you said at one point, you're wondering kind of what you can do. The one thing, and I would say the only thing really that you, Jeremy, as a son of God and a member of that parish can do is to pray, and to pray for all parties involved, the bishop, that priest, all of these things that are going on. Obviously, you don't know anything specific about what happened. If there was more information out there, we as Catholic lay people, obviously we've got to stand up and have our voice heard, especially in this era of the scandals, frustration we all should feel. In fact, for those that are legitimate cases, it should move beyond frustration, maybe to even outright anger especially if it's been covered up. But I'm curious, Jeremy, this probably didn't happen until you had become Catholic, but you said you just became Catholic, and that had to be in the midst of the national, even the global priestly sex abuse scandal. I'm curious, what was it that drew you to the Catholic Church while that could have so easily pushed you away? Why did you still say, God, I want to be a Catholic Christian?
Well, I grew up Protestant, and, I've always been a believer in Christ and everything the Christian church stands for. But I really liked the traditional beliefs, and I liked the church centered around the Eucharist. And, Protestants, you do nothing with the Eucharist. You might take communion once a year, maybe. They don't really center on that. And so I just liked, the idea that the Catholic Church was the original. And I thought, if I'm going to be Christian, I want to follow the original church. So that was pretty much it. And then the Catholic Church just kept appearing in my life, whether it be like a girlfriend that I was dating, her family would be Catholic or she would be Catholic, or I had a roommate who went through the RCIA program, and he would come home and tell me everything about the Catholic Church, and it just seemed like I kept getting drawn in that direction. So I just always wanted to convert, become into the Catholic Church. Yeah.
Well, welcome home again, Jeremy. How beautiful is that? I know Jerry said it at the beginning of your call, but I'll keep saying, welcome home, welcome home. That's awesome, just awesome. And I hope you continue to be an on-fire Catholic, because we need more and more of Jeremy's coming into the faith. And without getting it real quickly, because we're going to run out of time, I believe your bishop was newly appointed this year. And sometimes when bishops come into a diocese, they inherit a lot of things that they have to investigate, they have to pursue, and sometimes depending on if these are false accusations, or if they are found to be valid in some way, sometimes the priests are at a point in their ministry where they're just too tired to keep fighting this and have it be a continual scandal for the diocese, so they retire on their own. There's so many contributing factors to this, but I agree with Jerry. I would pray for everybody concerned, the victims, if there are victims, the priest that was so loved by the community, the bishop to make the right decisions, and then also pray pray to your guardian angels, to go to the bishop's guardian angels, because sometimes bishops, if they have a lot to do in ministry, it's thought of that they may have more than one angel around them helping them with their ministry. So go to your bishop's guardian angels through your angel, and just let him feel comfortable enough to communicate to the diocese what happened, and at least to the parish community. Some bishops are very open about that. Some they just don't know what to say to protect everybody involved. So there's so many things happening with these cases. I feel bad for everybody involved, and especially if it was a false accusation. That's tragic, because that's just ruining a person's beautifully ordained ministry. So, Jeremy, I don't know if that helps, but I think prayer definitely works. I've seen it in my diocese. We've had, things happen here in Phoenix, and it's been tough, but through prayer, things get ironed out. What do you think, Jeremy?
No, I appreciate it. And, I already have been, so I definitely will continue to pray about it and for him. And you're exactly right. I mean, Father Les dedicated his life to the church, and it's painful to see the accusations against him. So I just want his name cleared.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy, and Rob and the others. We are not going to get to you, unfortunately. Joyce, the trucker, our truck driver, Joyce, she says, as a professional truck driver, it frustrates me when local ordinances don't allow truck parking, especially in industrial areas. Everyone wants their stuff, but no one wants trucks around. Thank you, Joyce. And Timoteo, and Mike, and David, and Lulu, all on social media, thank you for your comments as well.
Don't forget to listen to tomorrow's show, Do You Want to Grow? It was a very popular one. And Jerry and I want to wish you, and the whole show team want to wish you, a beautiful and blessed day. See you real soon.
Dr. Ray Guarendi, making your parenting more fit, making your kids have less fits, and making your husband